My name is Clara. I live in Italy. Since I was 10 years old, I have been living with my grandmother. My parents often stayed in Finland for work. I completed my school and college studies in Italy itself. Since childhood, I have loved baking cakes. My grandmother used to bake different kinds of cakes on every birthday. I didn't have many friends. I would come home early from college and bake cakes every evening. My grandmother became so used to eating the cakes I baked. Since childhood, I had only one close friend. He was also my neighbor. His name was Harry, and he was my boyfriend as well. His family consisted of his parents and him. They owned a big farmhouse and were very rich. Harry and I studied in the same school and college. Harry was very lazy. He would sleep all day long. After graduation, I was wondering what I should do. Then my grandmother said, "You bake such wonderful cakes, why don't you open your own bakery?" After graduation, I opened my own bakery. The bakery was in my house, and it started running very well. I began receiving many orders and was very happy. One day, Harry and I were going somewhere, and I asked him, "Now that graduation is over, what will you do?" Harry replied, "I don't have any plans right now. I'll think about it later." And like this, a whole year passed. My small bakery had now grown into a large bakery. I started getting orders from nearby towns as well. One day my grandmother said, "Why don't you expand your business to another country?" I was surprised. I had never thought about that before. I spoke to my parents and told them I was planning to open a bakery in Finland. They were very happy, but I was not, because I didn't want to leave my grandmother. I also spoke to Harry about it, but he didn't give much importance to my words. Even 3 years after graduation, Harry was still doing nothing. Whenever I asked him about his career, his answer was always the same: "I don't have any plans right now. I'll think about it later." The truth was, Harry didn't want to do anything at all. I tried to take my grandmother with me to Finland, but she wasn't willing to leave her ancestral home. So, I went to Finland and opened a bakery there. My bakery did very well in Finland too. At first, I didn't like Finland. I always missed my grandmother in Italy. I used to talk to my grandmother every day. 2 years passed with my bakery in Finland. But in all those 3 years, one thing hadn't changed, and that was Harry. Whenever I asked him about his career, his reply was always the same: "I don't have any plans. I'll think about it later." Even after 5 years since graduation, Harry hadn't changed. One day, I received my biggest order yet. I worked very hard to complete it, and my client was very pleased with my work. His name was Jack, and he was also from Finland. Slowly, Jack and I became good friends. One day Jack came to my bakery and invited me for dinner. We met at a restaurant, and there Jack proposed to me. I was stunned. I told him about Harry and said that I could only remain his good friend. Jack's face showed his pain clearly, but he still smiled. A few months later, I went back to Italy to meet my grandmother. She was very happy to see me. I was eager to meet Harry as well. That same day, I met him. But Harry was exactly the same, without any change. I asked him about work, but his reply was the same as always. That night, I baked a cake for my grandmother. During our conversation, she said, "You have built your career, now I want you to get married." I replied, "Yes, I will think about it." The next day, I went to Harry and asked him if he had thought about marriage. He ignored my words and said, "What's the hurry? I'll think about it later." Hearing this, I was shocked. I told him, "You will never change. In 6 years, I haven't seen any change in you. You don't own anything of your own, everything you have belongs to your father. I made a big mistake staying in a relationship with you for 6 years. If you really want to change yourself, then come to my house tomorrow." Saying this, I left. The next day, I waited for Harry all day on the balcony, but he never came. I told my grandmother everything. She said, "You can never change someone unless they want to change themselves." Her words stayed in my heart. The very next day, I returned to Finland and focused on my work. During that time, I met Jack again. He asked about my grandmother, and I told him everything was fine. Then he asked about Harry, and I told him all about our breakup. A few months later, my grandmother came to Finland for Christmas. She loved it there. I introduced her to Jack, and she liked him very much. 2 days before Christmas, Jack proposed to me again. This time I didn't refuse, but I asked him to wait a little. I told everything to my grandmother and my parents. They were all very happy. On Christmas Eve, my grandmother invited Jack for dinner, and that night I accepted his marriage proposal. 2 months later, we got married, and in Finland, I began a new chapter of my life.